Abo says so. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Jigba, how are you?
Fine. It's
Okay,
Manny.
how is your family?
Fine, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good morning, sir.
Send me your number. Puto, Puto, send me your number.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, send me your number now. I want to call you. Desmond, good morning.
Silas, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Doc.
I'm so
Good
sorry. I
morning,
was
Mom.
thinking they would generate a new link today, so I was waiting for the link, not knowing I was supposed to continue with yesterday's link. So I'm sorry for the delay. I've been ready, but was waiting for Emmanuel to post a new link.
Good morning,
All
Doc.
right. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Sorry for the delay, please. Okay. Just a reminder that your attendance and participation will make up 5 marks for your continuous assessments, while assignment tomorrow will make up 10. That's 15 marks from my part of the course. So as we discuss, as I see people, I will mark, and then at the end, I might just do a roll call, but I'm already seeing names as we're discussing. I will be marking assigning marks to everyone. So today we're going to look at gender responsive policy development. So gender responsive policy development is a method for developing policies and programs that considers the particular needs, experiences, and contributions of various gender. So these are policies that are made with the what's the word now? No expectation, with consideration of the different needs of different genders, their experiences, and whatever. And the reason why we have gender responsive policy is because we want to promote gender equality. That's the bane of everything we're doing. We know that the gap is inequality, and that's what is causing so many of the problems that we have. So behind almost everything we're doing is to promote gender equality and then women's empowerment. Much of this course you'll be hearing women. It's not like men are being neglected, but it's because of the kind of place where we live in. Men are more at an advantage. Even when it comes to power supremacy, it's the men that's an advantage. You know, the kind of system we operate, the patriarchal system. So it benefits men. That's why you hear about women empowerment and all of that. It's not like men are being neglected, but we're just being factual about the reality of the climb where we found ourselves in. So it attempts to promote gender equality and women's empowerment while tackling issues connected to gender-based discrimination and inequality, because it recognizes that gender is a significant factor in determining an individual's possibilities and challenges. So in order to formulate gender responsive policy, we just said it's a policy that considers both genders, people's roles, their expectations, right? So that it's humane. In order to formulate gender responsive policies, there are some principles that must be followed for us to say that, oh, this policy is gender responsive. It's not a gender blind policy. What are some of these principles? Number one, gender analysis. So for this course, much of what we'll be doing, you might be hearing repetition. So yesterday we talked about gender analysis, we talked about intersectionality. We might see some recurring concepts. That's that those concepts are important, and you need to get yourself familiar with that. So who is going to help us? Who's going to take the first shot today? Gender analysis. Who's going to help us read?
Okay, let me read, man.
So Abu says so. All right.
Gender analysis. To understand how different genders are impacted by the issue or problem you are tackling, conduct a thorough gender analysis, gender roles, norms, power, dynamics, and intersectionality. The junction of gender with other aspects, including age, color, ethnicity, and others should be considered in the research.
All right. So I want to ask, what is the basis for gender analysis? What do you use to carry out gender analysis?
I think is
For data collection, for research.
Okay, so it's data, right? So for you to do any analysis, you must have data, isn't it?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, when we talk about intersectionality, there's something we call interaction in research, right? So if you're carrying gender analysis, you want to see how a problem affects both gender. First of all, it means that for your data, you're going to have the variable called sex, because if you don't have sex, male and female, there's no way you'll be able to disaggregate to now know what is it that affects a man and what is it that affects a woman. That's the first point to start with. Now, when we talk about intersectionality, yesterday I said intersectionality has to do with the different identities that people have that can exacerbate or reduce the kind of inequalities that they experience, or possibilities or experiences they may encounter. Now, in order to do intersectionality in research, there's something we'll call interaction. Now, if you want to know so for example, you want to know the average income of men and women in Benue State. So you need two variables, right? You need your sex and you need income. All you need to do is to tabulate income using gender so that to give it the average for men, give it the average for women. Now, when you want to look at intersectionality, so for example, you want to see women who achieve, are you following? So those are
Yes.
two different identities. Number one, you're a woman. Number two, TIF, that's your ethnicity. Now, you're going to find the average income for women who are TIF, for example, because you want to start delving deeper to analyze to see where there are issues, so that when you're formulating your policies, it's going to be backed by evidence, by statistics, by data. Now, when you do, so in doing this, you tabulate income by sex, and then so you do income by female. This one is no longer sex because you are now, your focus is now women who are TIF. So income by female and then by TIF. So the interaction of female and TIF already is intersectionality. Are we following? So you're using two identities to find the average income. You're using TIF, you're using women. So as a woman, that's one identity. If you're a TIF person, that's your identity as your ethnicity. That's already intersectionality you're doing. So when we talk about gender analysis, it's not like it's far-fetched. It's just about you sitting to think, how do you want to achieve what you want to achieve? If it's for just male and female, you disaggregate based on male and female. But when you want to add other identities to find, okay, so if we have this intersectionality, what is the which level will we place this person? It's a very simple thing to do. All you need to do is now to combine or interact with different identities that you want to use to find the particular level of a variable. Do we understand what I'm trying to say at all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Back up with more example, ma. Some of us
Okay.
just joining.
Okay, so we say when we talk about gender analysis first, you are trying to disaggregate to find, you are trying to use data to find, to analyze, to find out where there are problems. And we said that one of the principles for gender policy development is that you must first carry out gender analysis so that you know what the problems are, so that when you are now formulating principles, the principles are now responding to the problem that you have found out. And there are different ways that you can do this. So, for example, you might say, okay, if we're looking at gender pay gap, and maybe men and any more than women, all you need from your variable, for example, is your sex and then your income. Of course, when you're asking people income, you not ask, are you woman, or how much do you earn as a woman or as a man? You just ask income blindly. You don't need to do that. But when you want to now find the difference between income for a man and a woman, all you need to do is to tabulate income by gender. So it will now give you the average for men. It will give you the average for women. Now, when you want to go further in your gender analysis to things like intersectionality, when we say intersectionality, it means the interaction of two or more identities. So, for example, you want to look at women that are age 30 and below, or women that are TIF, or women that, so if you are taking height, so for example, maybe you say from 5.5 below, they are short from 5. So it depends on the identity you want to look at. So I'm saying the gender analysis when it comes to intersectionality is not something too difficult. It's just about you combining two variables. So you are finding the interaction of two variables and then its effect on the variable of your own concern. I don't know if this is clear. So, for example, if you want to know whether there's we need to improve income of women who are active, how would you know? First of all, you have found men and women. Then you now go further with the women you have found. You now add another variable to intersect with the identity women. So, for example, thief and women are now interacting. You now get the average for women who are thief. Are we following?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we're not in the lab, so it's easier when we haven't doing the analysis as we are talking for us to see. So this is about gender analysis. Gender analysis is about you using data to find problem, and then because you have found this problem, you will now formulate principles, policies that are addressing the problem you have found as a result of gender analysis. And I said the first point of all self is to have data. Without data, there's no way you can do analysis. Are we following? So the gender analysis helps us to understand how people are impacted, how different genders are impacted by different issues. It can be income, it can be education, it can be any socioeconomic variable that you can think of. When you do the analysis, it helps you to know how this gender is affected by this variable and this other gender is affected by this variable. When you know the way they are affected, when you are now formulating policy, you're not formulating blind policies. Your policies are being informed by the problems you have found from your analysis. I don't know if this is clear. Hello.
It's clear, ma. It's clear, ma.
All right. So who is going to help us with the second one?
Can I read, ma?
Yes, I heard a lady's voice. You can, please.
Okay. Cause
Kumaden. Okay. I'm just hearing your voice, Kumaden. Yesterday we were very silent.
good morning. Okay.
All right.
Consultation include a wide spectrum of stakeholders.
Please, can you start afresh? I didn't hear when you started.
Okay, I said one of the principles in gender policy and development here is consultation and participation.
Okay.
Include a wide spectrum of stakeholders in policy making, including men and women from different backgrounds. Identification of gender-specific needs and priorities depends heavily on their contributions.
So I believe this is very direct. What they are saying, what we're trying to say here is that when you want to form gender sensitive policies, so policies that speak to gender, you must first do consultation and participation. Yes, you have research that is helping you, that is guiding you to formulate policies beyond research and beyond your analysis. We also need consultation and participation. And when we talk about participation, we're looking at participant. It means everybody is involved. When we say everybody is involved, it means both men and women are involved. You cannot say when you're doing your consultation, in order to formulate gender responsive policies, you only have men on the table. If you have only men on the table, it means that everything you will be suggesting that has to do with women will just be assumptions, isn't it? Because a man cannot really say what affects a woman. He can only infer, or maybe he has said there's nobody that can discuss your problem better than you. So when we talk about consultation and participation in response to gender policy, everybody must be represented on the table so that women will speak concerning their own specific needs and priorities. Men will speak concerning their own specific needs and priorities. This way, anything you get will be solid and will inform a policy that is not biased or blind. I don't know if this is clear. We need a class rep that is going to be what is it now? Muting people today.
And the host is still the IMA, the ITP is still the host.
The IT people are still the host.
Yeah, let me chat him now to make me host.
Please chat him to make you a co-host. Mr. Silas, we are hearing what is happening in your house. So. Mr. Teve.
That is not my house, Doc.
But yeah, you're not muted. I can see your mic going up and down. Patrick, please, can you mute? Moputo. Okay, so Mr. Silas, please let's mute, because sometimes when we have these interruptions and interjections, they just cut your flow of thought and it's not easy going to pick up where you stopped. So do we understand the importance of consultation and participation as a principle for gender policy?
Yes, ma'am.
So who is going to explain it to us in your own word, the way you understand?
All right, ma. Can I talk?
Yes, please.
All right. So let me just go through the point again. Say including a wide spectrum of stakeholders.
Hold on, please.
Policy.
Where is this noise coming from? Please, where is this noise coming from now? Okay, Ima, you can go ahead, please.
I'm in charge now.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so the point says including a wide spectrum of stakeholders in policy making, including men and women from different backgrounds. Identification of gender-specific needs and priorities depends heavily on their contribution. So this point is really is trying to lay emphasis on the need of including, should I say everybody, but to be more specific, like the stakeholders. And then, to my own understanding, I feel doing this will actually lead to achieving a sustainable policy development, because if these persons are not actually not involved in this, it will actually lead to a half-baked policy implementation or development. So the women and the men and the stakeholders, the main people like the chiefs, the leaders, traditional heads and all, are to be involved in whatever policy developments that are actually being incorporated or that is being planned to be incorporated. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So at the end of the day, what we are saying is that as you bring in stakeholders, you must have men and women on the table so that everybody will speak as it relates to their own priorities and specific needs. You cannot have a gathering of just men and then you say you're forming gender responsive policy. They're just making assumptions for women as to what they think is their needs, or you just have only women and then you say you're making a gender responsive policy. Definitely it might be blind, because they will be working on assumptions. So I think I'll start calling names. Some people just join and then they are doing something else. So let me see who is going to read the next slide
Jigba can read.
first.
Can I read this
No,
one? Okay.
Adamson, goodness. Can you help us? Adamson,
Good morning, ma.
good morning. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
So please, can you
Principal,
read the third principle for us?
Let me go ahead and read.
Ma, let me read.
Adamson, what's the problem?
It might be
My
network.
network has knocked her out.
Okay.
Let me go ahead.
No, I want everybody to earn marks in the class.
Okay.
Can I also say something?
Not
Can I
for
read?
marks, right? I want the marks to go round because it's just particular set of persons that have been getting marks. I say,
Okay, let me go ahead, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I read?
please, can you read the third point first?
Okay. The third point, the establishing goals for gender equality in the policy. Okay. Clearly states and express the goals and objectives of the policy. They ought to be SMART objectives, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
So can you break it further? Because I know you're in the development world. What does it mean for a policy to actually be smart, with an example?
Okay. Okay, yeah, and it's caught me off guard, but for it to be smart in terms of it has to be in terms of specific, it has to be goal and oriented. It has to there must be a reason behind it. It must have a specific target audience that is intended to benefit from. In this case, we say the women and girl child in the communities. It has to be measurable. The set goals that wants to be achievable. If like the target population is like 50 girls, 50 girls must have benefited from an intervention. Then achievable, it's supposed to be something that the outcome can be it's something that can be doable, or something that after a need assessment has been done and the community agrees that these are the issues they are having, and they can relate to the intervention that will be carried out in their community. So it is something that is achievable, not something that you go to a community and you intend to do something that is not holistic. It doesn't, like, the community will not benefit in any way. Then relevant, it is something that can, in terms of sustainability, even after the project ends or maybe after an intervention, it will still exist, and it will still be something that will still be used in that community. Time bound, that is still under sustainability too. It's something that can be seen to go on for probably generations to come. Maybe they're like if by the time some women grow old, they will still be using that intervention that has been carried out, like maybe like providing water to a community using solar installations, or ways that can be ways that can ways that they can actually serve the community. Like if we are drilling a borehole in the community, some people in the place will be trained on how to manage and maintain it, identify issues that may stop it from operating, but someone is assigned to take care of it, watch over it, and then they are able to like raise funds to like maintain it for a long period of time. Thank you. I don't know whether I'm on track, but that's my opinion
All
on
right.
it.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. So when we say establish goals for gender equality in the policy, let's assume, so all what he has said is very relevant. Let's assume that so we have maybe in Nigeria, after carrying out needs assessment, you have done the analysis, and then we realize that women are far back when it comes to education, and then you want to formulate a policy that addresses this problem. So being specific, okay, these policies you're targeting is at women, then of course it's not possible that every woman will be educated, right? So even when you're carrying out a project is something that is time bound. It has beginning, it has end. And you also look at your resources to see what you can achieve so that when you are formulating policies and maybe project at the end of the day, there should be something it should be something that is realistic and something that you can achieve. And then when we say time bound, it cannot be forever, right? So within this time, what will I achieve? What will the policy achieve between maybe in 4 years when your government is going to be in office, so that you can measure to say, oh, this this is what and what this policy was able to do. Ifan, I saw your hand up. I don't know if you have contribution. Ifan. All right, Mr. Midugu. So let's go. Gender disaggregated data. You wanted to read, so you have the floor now, sir.
Yes, ma. Yeah.
Hello, madam. Your
Hello,
hand
ma.
was
Can
up.
anyone hear me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you. Your hand was up. Is there something you want to
Hello,
say?
can.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to read.
Okay, don't worry. There will be opportunity for you to read. So, Mr. Silas, are you taking the shot or should
Okay.
Mrs. Ifan do so?
I don't know whether you can hear me. My network is quite bad. But can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So gender disaggregated data. Data broken down by gender should be gathered and used to analyze the effects of the policy on each gender. Making educated judgments and tracking progress are both aided by this data.
All right, so when we talk about gender disaggregated data, all of this still even falls under analysis. When you analyze, you are not able to disaggregate. In other words, what they are trying to say is that for you to find the effect of a policy on gender, you must have gender disaggregated data. And all you need to even get gender disaggregated data is for you to have that data sex. Once you have sex, you can disaggregate. And like I said yesterday, so many of us, we go to the field, we collect sex. We just know that if you are doing questionnaire, there must be sex. We don't know how powerful that variable is. There's so many things we're able to do. There's so many problems we're able to find because we have that variable. Disaggregating so many things that we might like to probe to find issues. So any survey you do that has sex tells you that you can disaggregate your data by men, women, by different genders, by roles, and what have you. I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't understand gender. So when you are doing your research, in even trying to get objectives, you can break from your disaggregated data. You can start probing further using different identities to find problems, and it will be unique. Sometimes people say, I don't even know which objective to write. I don't even know what to do. If you have thought of a problem, to delve deeper, you start getting objectives. Oh, if I do it this way, this can be an objective. If I do this way, this can be an objective. So the reason why you collect sex is so that you're able to disaggregate beyond your socioeconomic characteristics. Because what most students do is that they'll just say 20% of my respondents are men, 80% are female. Finish. They don't even use that variable sex to do any other thing. They don't use it for comparison. They don't use it to probe further. For other disciplines, we might even allow them, but not for sustainable social development, because we know the power of disaggregating data. So for you, it should be different. You should use that powerful variable sex to probe further to find out things that might be of to find out issues with the problem you are trying to solve with your research. All right, Mr. Amedugu, are you available now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you can read.
Okay. Gender mainstreaming. Integrated gender consign into all phases of policy formation, from planning and design through implementation and assessment. According to the principle of gender mainstreaming, including a gender component is not enough. The policy must also be prioritized gender viewpoints.
So yesterday we'll talk about gender mainstreaming. I would say that has to do with incorporating gender perspective into what we do. And I gave an example of our class or cohorts in IPES that there's a compulsory requirement for women. So that's mainstreaming. And that's one of the principles of gender policy. If you know there's a problem, you can use mainstreaming to try to bridge the gender inequality. I don't know if there's anybody that has any other thing to add here. Hello, are we together?
Yes, we are.
So gender budgeting. Yesterday after I formulated the groups in class, people are now coming out from their holes saying blaming it on network. They were trying to join the network. I said no problem. If I don't give these people a group, they will say this woman is not being fair, abi. So all the people that did not attend lecture, they will form a group, and then they will be ready for defense tomorrow. So no problem. Anybody that was not around, just join that group 5. All of you will end the same mark
Hello,
at the
ma.
end of the day. Yes.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I want to apologize. I never absconded from the lecture. I was for the first part. It was the second part that network did not allow me to join. I was trying to also.
Hello, sir. We have lost you.
Doc, I was in class. Disturbed me, challenges. I was having challenges of network.
No problem. I've just said there's no point even giving apologies. I've just said you people have a group, so it's still all good now. Right? There's no problem. I've given you people a group. So you will work harder because you were not in class, because you're going to defend anything you're presenting tomorrow. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, when we talk about gender budgeting is a tool you can use for gender policy or to carry out any gender related goal you want to carry out. And what does this mean? So, for example, let me read this before I give my example. Budget resources should be distributed according to gender equality objectives. Making changes to address gender inequality entails analyzing how resources are allocated and used. So gender budgeting would be you allocating resources or money for the achievement of a particular goal that will lead to gender equality. I'll use our project again as an example. So there's, I think, number of female that if you number of female participants on the project, that if you have, I think there's particular amount and incentive that will be given to the center, something like that. Why is that way? They are doing it so that as the center is also enrolling people, they are mindful that since we want to bridge the gap between men and women, we need to, in fact, men are up there. We're trying to get women close. So so the center will be encouraged to enroll more of women. So it therefore means that we can have a class that is 100% women, no problem. But we cannot have a class that is 100% men. Why? Because we are going to be penalized money is going to be taken. So you are seeing that they are even using resources, they are budgeting resources to carry out the goal of gender equality. Are we following?
Yes, we are.
Yes, ma'am.
So
But
when you put incentives,
yes,
if for example you have 50 women on this project, you have an incentive, or you say, okay, if you don't have up to 50, there's penalty. That is you doing gender budgeting to achieve your gender equality objectives. Is this clear?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it means
ma'am. Me, I'm
allocating
not clear.
resources. Hello, somebody saying something.
I'm not too clear.
Okay. Mr. Jigba, let me use an example that might not just a relatable example.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
So let's assume that you have 2 wives.
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
following?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
they've been giving birth to girl, and you need a boy, a male child, you need a boy. You know, as anyone that gives birth to a boy, you are going to buy that wife car.
Okay.
Are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
So you
I'm
are using
following.
your resources to achieve what you want. Are you following? Even though
I'm
I know
following,
that
ma'am.
giving birth to girl or giving birth to a boy or a girl, that's why I said the example is a bit, is not in the power of the woman. But in this case, when it
Yeah.
comes to projects and policies, there are things that you can do. So they attach incentives. So for example, if you're able to get this number of women on your project, we are going to give you this amount. That is gender budgeting. You're using your resources to achieve gender equality. Or you say, okay, if you don't get this number of women, I'm going to penalize you. You're going to pay this. So you're using your resources to budget towards gender. And at the end of the day, you want to achieve equality. So if, for example, they feel more men have capacity when it comes to social standards compared to women, and they want to build the capacity of women in social standards, all World Bank needs to say, okay, center of excellence, anybody that is able to train 500 women, we are going to give the person $10,000. That's gender budgeting. Because you're using your resources to achieve gender equality. Are you following?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So you now
Yes,
say,
ma'am.
okay, anybody that is not able to get 500 will penalize you. That means you were not able to enroll women. It's still.
Okay.
Do you
It's okay.
understand? I don't know if this
Yes, ma'am.
example sends it home.
No,
Yes,
it's taken. It's taken. It's
I
taken.
can see your B.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. Morning. I just have kind of little concern, especially now that you have mentioned this gender budgeting. I have been thinking, maybe I may be right or wrong, but when you talk about gender equality, it cuts across the two genders, male and female. And given the example you just highlighted, that maybe the IPES program has kind of incentive budgeted for mass enrollment of females. Will that also not create a kind of problem within the gender? Because by this now, the center may technically want to project the women more than the men in a very disproportionate manner so as to acquire the incentive that is budgeted for them. Would that also lead to another gender inequality? Because the male too like gender. So if you now have a projection of more women because you are trying to accrue a certain incentive, would that not lead to also gender imbalance? That's my question.
Okay, does anybody have any response for him before I respond?
Yes, I do, ma.
Okay, so let's hear you.
Mr. Mano say, yes, ma. My brother, we all understand that so long as this earth is concerned, the women are more in population than we, the men.
Sorry, the women are more what?
In population than we, the men. So giving them opportunities in order to meet up with the men is not a wrong thing at all. But for the purpose of the question you asked, when you see the situation where the example Doc gave about the IPES, they are trying to see how they will encourage women to also participate in this program. We all know that the interest of any program at all, when it comes up, most of the times the men rush in more than the women. So if they don't have a particular quota in order to make sure that the men should have a so percent and the women have a so percent, then we will not be able to make it worthwhile to bridge the gap and then get the sustainable development we are thinking that it should be within our environment and our generation to come. In addition, in terms of the crisis we are talking about, I feel and I believe strongly that even though they are allowed to have more admission, it doesn't mean that they are going to give them a separate special treatment other than our own. Look for the last exams we have. Women were not given a particular question paper, while we men were given a different one. We were all given the same question paper. The only thing is that they want their number. We want to have that number that is required by the particular people who are in charge of this program. And that is why they were giving that special attention. Thank you.
But I
Thank you
think
very much.
I think I'm not
Okay, somebody is speaking.
on the fact that the behind the IPES projection of the incentive. But my question is there some level of proportionate distribution of this? If not, it will certainly lead to also gender imbalance, because where one particular gender is projected more than the other, and the gap of that gender inequality that are trying to bridge will also be heightened. That's my own concern, not as if I am oblivious of the rationale behind the incentive.
All right, so let's hear okay, Mrs. Shamke, let's hear from you.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, colleagues. With regard to gender equality we're talking about, gender equality, my understanding, has to do more with opportunities, create equal opportunities for both men and women. It doesn't mean bringing down men to raise up the women. And gender is not all about women. It's about both genders. But research has shown that in many aspects of life, women appear to be disadvantaged. That's why the issues of women seem to be on the front burner. But there are situations also where we see that men are on the disadvantage, and there are programs that are designed to also, raise men, raise the capacity of men in those areas. I'm not sure of it, but some time ago I was hearing about interventions in this Southeast targeting the boys to go to school because they were more focused on business. So you see somebody who is a primary school leaver, after primary school, he goes to serve, sets up his business, he's doing well. He doesn't see a reason to go to school. And then he wants to marry the medical doctor, he wants to marry an engineer. And it is a pride for many of them to say, I'm married to a doctor, even though I didn't go to secondary school, those kind of things. But you see that when a woman has higher qualifications than the husband, or when people are at different levels of academic achievement and exposure, their thinking cannot be at the same level. So that also may create a problem in that home. So there is a need to create a balance and raise men, boys who want to go to school while they also do their business. So then programs are designed to see that they are learning their business and they are also going to school so that there is a balance. There isn't a feeling of intimidation or somebody not being submissive, as some might say. So it's not all about women, it's about both genders. However, women have been found to be mostly disadvantaged across various facets of life and parameters. That's the aspect I wanted to bring up. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to respond. I saw Fian's hand. I'll give other people opportunity to speak, but let Fian speak. I'll respond on this matter and then we'll proceed. But I've seen Ladi, I've seen Sesu. So Fian, what do you have to thank you, ma?
Okay, thank you, ma. Okay, so ma, I was going to say gender budgeting is more expansive, but then when you went to give a particular example, it ended up narrowing our mind to one side. So first, from my understanding about gender budgeting, everything about when it comes to gender, there's a key word they are talking about: sensitivity, to ensure that everything we are doing is sensitive to both genders. So when they are talking about budget, gender budgeting, it's a budget that is supposed to, or we are talking about a budget that how it affects both male and female. So if, for instance, now we have a budget for the country, and then more than 80% of the things they are talking about in that budget, it has to do with, okay, how it's going to develop men. So this kind of budgeting, when you analyze it, you can now say that, okay, the females are now on disadvantage. So I feel the example you gave, there must have been a reason where there was a particular analysis, gender analysis, and then the World Bank now said, okay, it looks like the women are not coming forth for this program, so we are going to encourage it. And I think if we can all agree with you that despite the incentives and all of that, I think there are still more men in this program for us than there are women. So the essence of gender budgeting is to ensure that that budget encompasses everybody. It's not as if they are trying to, like Mrs. Beatrice just said, it's not about trying to project the woman and then leaving the men behind, but expansively is how sensitive the budget is to both male and female, so that nobody will talk about a disadvantage. That was my contribution to the
All right,
discussion.
thank you very much. So who asked this question initially? To address this, first of all, we talked about who? Who asked? Your base. Okay, thank you. First of all, for the World Bank to come up with a project like this, people don't just come up with projects. There must be need assessment. There must be a problem. So for them to use budgeting to try to bridge this gap, remember we say gender budgeting is to carry out your equality goals, right? It's a tool you can use. Now, we are not saying that in the project, men are being enrolled on the project. Are they not enrolled on the project? So we are not saying it's only women or men, but we're using the budget as a tool to encourage. So it's like an encouragement design. You're using it to encourage the enrollment of more women to see how you can bridge that gap. Now, there's for them to do this, it means there's data to say that you have more men who have their capacity built when it comes to social standards, right? So we need the women are the one most women when it comes to gender based violence, you have I think more of women than men, right? So it's not like they're trying to neglect men, but they're now using this budgeting as a tool to carry out your gender equality goals. So they are using in the budget now. If we say 24, they say if you achieve 25% women enrollment, you're going to get this incentive. There's enrollment, whether it's women or men that you get, there's still incentive. So it's an additional, it's not like they are trying to look down on the men. And another thing I wanted to know is that for projects, there's something called monitoring and evaluation. You keep analyzing your data from time to time to see whether you will change the course or the direction of your project. So if, for example, maybe at the middle of the year, they analyze and see that, oh, with this incentive, it is only women that are enrolling on this project, they might change this gender budgeting to ensure that, okay, men are not left behind. So it's like a tool for you to achieve what you want to achieve. Are you following, Mr. Yobi?
Yes, ma'am.
And what I want you to understand is that for every project, whether policy or what have you, people, you will monitor and you will evaluate. And why are you monitoring, right? Is to see whether you should change the course of the project to get to your desired outcome, objective, or goal that you want to achieve. So even if you have the fears that, okay, if we are doing this, men are going to, the data is going to speak to it. You have your data. When you analyze, oh, this is what the data is saying, we need to align, we need to change direction, so that at the end of the day, you don't have men being marginalized because we want to bridge the gap between men and women. Is that okay? Fayam, your hand is
Very
still
well.
up.
Very well. Thank you, ma'am.
Fayam, your hand is still up. Is it the old one? So let's listen to Eche.
Yes, it's the
Mrs.
old one,
Eche,
but
your
sorry.
hand was up. Mrs. Eche.
No, I think all has been said in this aspect, ma. Good morning, ma.
Okay, I would have loved to hear your own perspective. How about Mr. Sesu? I saw you put hand up. People had burning contributions to make.
Yes, I can still say something a little more.
Okay, please do.
I wanted to say something about what my friend and colleague said that in the course of, because of the example you gave about incentives and if more women are
Don't worry, my examples are going to be using men. Because you are trying to tell me that I'm biased. All your
no,
example,
no,
women, women.
no, you are
But just
not.
like
You are
Mrs.
not.
Shomke said, so gender
You are
equality,
not.
we just want a balance, right? But let us be
Yes.
honest. In this climate, we have found ourselves in women are more disadvantaged. That's why you keep hearing women empowerment. It's not like they want to disempower men, but there is this gap that they are trying to build. So that's why when we are giving examples, relatable examples are examples that have to do with women. But it doesn't mean that
Yes.
men are not suffering. Do you understand? So it's not like we trying to relegate men, right? Like they don't have problems. There are not places where men are at disadvantage. But most times, even if I give an example with men, it might not be relatable. You just know that this example sounds abstract, right? The idea is so that we have equal opportunity, equal access to resources. Is that okay? So
Yeah.
let my
So
examples not cause more problems.
no, I just reference it.
You said?
So I was trying to say it's not as if in the course of trying to balance inequality, then they will suppress the men again. It's not like that.
Okay.
Like you say, in every project there is monitoring and evaluation. So as it keeps going, as the people funding the project are seeing that no, there is gender imbalance. The ladies, the women are less, the men are in high number. As they are trying to take in more women now, and there is a incentive trying to encourage women participation. Once they see in the course of monitoring and evaluation, if they see that okay, now we have done this thing to this level, the number of women now is superseding the number of men, they will still try to see how they can balance it again. So it's not as if they're trying to consider women more than the men. I was just trying to.
Okay, thank you so much. So please, don't worry. Our next examples will be using men. We'll not even use women, so that it's not one-sided. But just like Fariam rightly said, sensitivity when it comes to gender, we need to be sensitive, right? Even the budgeting has to be sensitive, and we are doing the gender budgeting to bridge a gap. So we're using it as a tool to achieve gender equality. If we know that we have more women than men, that means the incentives will be towards men. Are we following?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if, for example, on this project, it is men's capacity that have not been built, the coin would have been tossed the other way, right? So they'll say, okay, you need to have 25% male participants. There's going to be incentive if you're able to get this number of male. It can go either way. It's just that in our situation, this is where we are, and this is where we have found ourselves. Yes, Mrs. Beatrice, you still have something to say?
Yes. I was going to still talk about the gender budgeting. Yesterday, I gave an example of girls in school and how their monthly cycles affect attendance and eventual outcomes. Now, gender budgeting in education can also help, because the school now, in buying its supplies, the chalk, the markers, the dusters, whatever, they also consider wash items. They have items for keeping their toilets clean. They have a budget for ensuring that there is water. They have a budget for seeing that there are sanitary towels in the school in case of those emergencies or those situations, as I mentioned yesterday. So gender budgeting is beyond the example given. And then you also want to look at the needs of boys. What are the peculiar needs of boys? What are those things affecting them also? And a budget can be made to cater for those needs so that it encourages, enrollment, retention, and graduation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So who's going to take the next point? Building capacity.
Okay. Good morning, ma.
Okay, Mr. Inisa, good morning, sir.
Okay. Building capacity. Building capacity offer policymakers and government representatives the training and opportunities to effectively understand and implement gender responsive policy.
So I want to ask, who are our policymakers in Nigeria?
We have the lawmakers, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary.
All right, so people who formulate policies, it's also important to build their capacity. Just like when you want to go to maybe a community to do something, you first go to meet the community leaders. You tell them what you want to do, like the gatekeepers of the community, so that they can allow you have access. Now, in as much as all what we are saying is good, if the people that are formulating these policies don't even understand, when you talk about gender budgeting, which one is gender budgeting again? So for them to also formulate this capacity, you can only give from what you have. Their capacity has to be built in terms of gender issues generally, so that they will understand, and then they can in turn give these policies the desired attention and effort that it needs. So it's important to build the capacity of people, our policymakers, government officials, who are going to be formulating this policy, so that once they understand what we are trying to do, even the urgency, the attention, and what they will give to these policies will be different. You can't just be formulating policy that maybe somebody just told you, you have no idea. The way you treat it in levity, but once your capacity has been built and you know that, oh, this is important, so we're talking about peace, we're talking about justice, this is important for us to achieve this peace and justice we'll be talking about. This is another dimension, another angle. They won't treat it with levity. So this is what this point is saying. Our next point is oh, this should be a repetition. I thought we talked about gender mainstreaming not too long. Okay. Gender responsive communication. Create communication plans that considers the demands of various genders. Ensure that the policy message effectively reaches all intended audiences. So when you are formulating policies, it has to be gender responsive. And I know that in this class now, people like Fayam and Yobi, they are trying to tell me that my communication is not gender sensitive. I'm inclining more towards the women from their comments, right? So for you to formulate gender policies, you also have to be careful so that in your communication, you pass out what you're supposed to pass out. Well, you're sensitive to the sensitivity of all the genders that will be involved in or that will need the policy, and so that your message is being understood clearly. Any question? So who is going to help us with the next point? Legislation and legal reforms.
I read legislation and legal reform. Pass new legislation or amended current laws to end discriminatory practices and advance gender equality.
All right, I think that point is very, very clear.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and Jaso, can you help us with the next point?
Okay, good morning. Partnership. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay. Partnerships. Work with groups from civil societies, international organizations, and other parties with knowledge of gender issues. This alliance may offer insightful information and beneficial resources.
Right, and so this is also very clear. It is when we talk about this gender equality thing, it is not something that only governments can do. It is not something that only NGOs can do. We need to form partnership and alliances for us to be able to achieve gender equality, because everybody has a role to play. Even our traditional leaders, they have a role to play. If they don't buy this message of gender equality, there's no way they are going to formulate some of our cultures that are harmful. They will not buy into it. So you're just going to be preaching your gender equality message at the top. So it's important we form alliances and partnerships with different stakeholders who are important when we want to formulate these policies, because their insights will also be very relevant. So next, we're going to go into policy analysis through a gender lens. When analyzing policies from a gender perspective, it is essential to consider how they affect people of different genders and determine whether they advance gender equality or maintain existing inequalities. This strategy tries to ensure that laws consider the particular needs, struggles, and rights of women, men, and people of all genders. So like even the picture I have by the side, right? So when you say something, you're looking at something through a gender lens, it means that you have considered the genders involved to ensure that anything you're doing, right, is to promote gender equality. Any policy you bring that maintains the status quo. So if, for example, we have issues of gender-based violence and you're formulating new policies that does not, speak to gender-based violence in terms of reducing it to ensure that you have more equality, then that policy was not formulated with a gender lens. Any policy through a gender lens considers the realities of both genders, their needs, their struggles, to see how we can bring about equality. And there are considerations for you to formulate policies using a gender lens. The first is for you to define the objectives and scope. Clearly describe the objectives of the policy analysis and the scope of the policy or program being looked at. Determine the exact inquiries you wish to address about the gender implications. So when we talk about objectives, be specific about what you want to look at. When we talk about scope, how far is this going to cover? So a way to explain scope, I know that in our thesis in chapter 1, there's something known as, is it scope and limitation? Yes, scope and limitation of the study, right? I remember that when I was defending my PhD thesis, somebody asked me a question that was outside the scope of my work. That means it was outside what I did, right? And my response was that, I'm sorry, your question is beyond the scope of this study. Now, in looking at policy through gender lens, there must be a scope. How far do you want this to go? What is the objective? And what are the boundaries? Where is this going to, where are we going to draw the line? Where is going to be the limit for what we want to do? So it is important that you define the objectives and scope. Is it going to cover men and women? Are you covering children? So you need to define the scope of what you want to do. And then what is your objective? What is the outcome? What do you want to achieve? The second consideration when it comes to policy using gender lens is gender roles and norms. We need to examine the relationship between the policy and the current gender roles and norms in society. Think about how it might support or contradict prevailing gender stereotypes. So you want to analyze policy through gender lens. You need to put it aside some of our gender roles and norms. And we know that some of our norms, it's not like when we talk about gender equality, it's not like all the norms we have are bad. There are some that are good. There are some of the culture that we have that, you know, are adding positively to development, and then we'll have some that are very, very harmful. Now, in analyzing policy through gender lens, if you have formulated a policy, you put it side by side with gender roles and norms. This policy, how do they align? Is there any point of harmony? If there is none, how are you going to bridge that gap? And most times, for you to change harmful norms, it takes time, because it has to do with mindset, and it's not easy for people to change their mindset. For me, it was when I got on project like this that I said, before, when you talk about gay, lesbian, and all of that, it's as if you have said something strange. But with knowledge, and as I start getting exposed to trainings, right, these are human beings that have maybe a different sexual orientation. If it was before, I would not even be able to stay in a room with somebody that I feel is of a different sexual orientation. But you see that with training, you're able to change that. So when you also formulate policies, if your policies are not in tune with the norms that we have, it's going to take time. It's not and something that I say, okay, because I formulated this policy by force. People's norms are not things that you will change immediately. It has to take time. It has to take time for people to change their mindset. So you must look at your policy and consider people's gender roles and norms for you to see how effective these policies that you are formulating will be, looking at the gender lens. Any comments before we go further? So now, another thing to consider for gender policy is intersectionality. I think somebody should be able to explain this to us. We talked about intersectionality yesterday. Anybody? 1 mark. Hello.
The intersectionality talks about trying to intersect, like blending them with different sectors, different organizations, and then different plans and policy. And I'm trying to recall it, but that's not what I actually remember.
Can I add, please?
Intersectionality, you were talking about the difference, one person having different identity that can lead to inequality. That's what you were talking about, intersectionality.
And another thing there, like you rightly said that we should, in this note, that we should recognize the people's identity. You made mentions of this identity, which is ethnicity, age, disability, sexual orientation, all intersect, which are the factors to be examined, whether how the impact of these factors will affect the result of the policy. I think this is what you're saying. Before formulating a policy, you must consider all these factors listed here. How are they going to affect the policy? Will the people accept that? Will people not accept that? You put them into consideration. How do I change them and how do I go about them before the policy? And then by doing that, it will allow the policy to be effective when being implemented. Thank you, ma.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So I saw Mrs. Iwodu's hand up. Mrs. Iwodu, you want to say something? Okay, gender equality goals. Who's going to help us read this?
Oh, I will, ma. Gender equality goals determine whether the policy aligns with the goals and objectives of gender equality. Check to see if it supports equal opportunities and results for each gender. So,
Right, so
this, yes, ma'am.
So please go ahead.
Okay, so this consideration is saying that you need to check if the policies and implementations that are on ground or are going to be put in ground aligns with the objective of gender equality. So if you're saying that, okay, we feel like in this area, one gender is there's no balance in this area. So the policies and objectives or implementations should try to create a balance in that area, not go ahead and create a deformity. So you're looking for a solution, which is a balance, and it has to align with the consideration being equality, not creating another problem. So it checks to see if it supports equal opportunities. Now, it's not just for the female, it's for both genders or both sexes. So if there is a deformity in one aspect, we try to create a balance where we can say that there's equality, whether it's for the male or for the female. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Hello, ma.
So yes, sir. Who is that?
Hello, ma.
Mr. Ted, good morning,
Hello.
sir.
Ma, morning, ma. Sorry, I've been having serious network problems. I don't know what the network is doing me like this. I'm having a problem with these applications of these things. Is it mainly at home, in families, or in organizations? That's where my confusion is.
So
Thank you.
we are
If you can
saying,
put more light.
so is it these considerations you are talking about?
Yes.
So this is for policymakers, people who are formulating policies, right? So we are saying for their policies to have been formulated through a gender lens, they must consider all of these things. So when you formulate your policy, you check it with gender equality goals, you check it with intersectionality. At the end of the day, you are checking to see that the policies you are forming takes into considerations the different needs, roles, and expectations of both genders. Is that okay? So these considerations are for the people who are formulating the policy.
Okay. Okay.
But it's also
Okay,
something
like
you can apply. So it's also something you can apply in your house, right? So if you want to promote gender equality in your house, there are things you can apply to your workplace. There are things you can apply to your personal life. There are things you can apply to life generally, right? If you want to promote gender equality. So the lessons are not just only for people who formulate policies, right? Even at our different levels, right? If we want to promote gender equality, then anything we do should also be through the gender lens. Are you saying something?
The problem I am seeing here is the idea of tokenism when they say these things, but in the real practical sense, these things become very difficult for implementation. That's this thing I'm seeing.
So implementation is a different ball game. It doesn't stop us from having this conversation, right? This is the right thing to do. Implementation is a different thing. But should you be in, so for example, should you be in place of authority, maybe a VC or anything, and you're formulating policies at your own levels, and you want us to say, okay, these policies you have formulated were through a gender lens, then these are considerations that you should also have when formulating your policies.
Thank you, ma.
Hello, sir. And like I tell people, things that you learn, whether it's for people in leadership, everybody is a leader. Even you are a policy maker. You form policies in your house, don't you, Mr. Ted?
True, ma. That's true.
You don't form policies in your house.
It's true. It's true. Well, I do.
Those rules and regulations you give in your house, what are they?
Yes, you are right. It's true. It's true.
So these are things that
It's true. It's true.
is
It's
applicable
true.
to everybody. But because we are talking about gender equality, we are looking at
Yes,
people at the top,
no,
right, as policymakers.
When
But
you
it applies
mentioned
to
this
us
thing,
all.
the thing it became.
Sorry, sir, I can't hear you.
Became very clear, assigning roles of all those things in the house. Thank you.
Hello, I'm not hearing you well, sir. Okay, I think we can
Sorry,
go on.
my network is very bad in my area here.
He has made his point. He was saying that since he gave that example, he understood now.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's go to the next point. Mr. Yobi. Oh, has it gone? Yobi Sunen. Fayam, is Fayam here?
Yes, ma, I'm here.
Okay, help us read this point, please.
Okay. For distribution of resources, right?
Yes.
Analyze the distribution of resources, such as funds.
We are all here, ma. This is the distribution.
Among the various genders, find any inconsistency in the distribution of resources.
All right, so this supports the point that Fayam was saying the other time, right? At the end of the day, we just want equality, and there should not be inconsistencies. Like Mr. Yobi was exhibiting fears that when you start doing gender budgeting, are you sure a particular gender will not suffer much? You need to consider all genders in the distribution of resources. If we're saying we're preaching gender equality, then another gender should not suffer at the expense of the other, right? But if there's a gap, definitely it means that there's going to be more resources directed towards bridging the gap that a particular gender suffers. Then impact assessments. This is what I'm doing currently. So who's going to help us read impact assessments?
Read
impact assessment. Impact on different genders regarding access to education.
Okay, impact assessment.
Impact assessment evaluates the policy's impact on different genders regarding access to education, healthcare, employment, social services, and political participation. Consider both short-term and long-term effects.
All right, thank you very much. So when you say impact, you want to be able to attribute, okay, as a result of this policy, as a result of this initiative, as a result of this intervention, this is what we have achieved. And this brings me to explaining the difference between effect and impact. So most times when we're carrying out our research, we use these words interchangeably, and they should not. When you're talking about impact, you're trying to measure a difference. And for you to measure a difference, there are several things that are involved. Number one, for you to measure a difference, you must have beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries. right? So people who have benefited from this intervention and people who have not benefited, right? For you to say you want to measure impact. And why is that so? Now, for you to actually say that something has been impactful, for something to be impactful, let me use myself and explain now. For you to measure maybe impact of education on me, it means you must have two of Dr. Obekpa. Are you following? The Dr. Obekpa that has benefited from education. So this is what Dr. Obekpa will be because she has benefited from education. And then an imaginary Dr. Obekpa, this is what Dr. Obekpa would have been if she had not benefited from education. Is this clear at all?
Yes.
But you know that it is not possible for me to benefit and not benefit in real life. Only one can happen to me, isn't it? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you want to do an impact study, it therefore means so. Hello. So when you want to do an impact study, it therefore means that you are going to find the counterfactual of your intervention. So, for example, I have gone to school. You need to find the counterfactual of what I would have been if I had not gone to school. But because I've gone to school, it's impossible for you to know what I would have been if I had not gone to school. So the closest thing for you to do is to simulate me that did not go to school. And for you to simulate me that did not go to school, it means you will find somebody that has the kind of characteristics I have. So, for example, a woman, my age range, you understand that is not too different from Dr. Bekba that is here. And then you now, since Dr. Bekba has gone to school, you now measure the difference between this Dr. Bekba that has gone to school and the one that you have simulated, because it's not possible for me to be in two different worlds. I can only be in one. And you now find the difference between the simulated Dr. Bekpa. That is when you're not able to say, okay, you're measuring impact. So it is either you're doing beneficiaries and not beneficiaries, or you have my baseline data before the intervention. This is my level. And then after this intervention, this is what I've gotten. So it's either you have data for pre and post, you have beneficiaries, non-beneficiaries. Is this clear? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So if you are carrying out your thesis and you know that you don't have this counterfactual, that you don't have data on before and post, or you don't have non-beneficiaries and beneficiaries, then don't use the word impact, use effects. Hello.
Can you come again? I don't.
Doctor, please, can you come again? I couldn't even get you.
Oh my goodness, I don't know how to explain this again. Okay. Let's assume that children in okay, let's assume that there's poor quality of education in Makodi at primary level, right? And then we realize we have done need assessments. And children that are in primary 4 that should be able to write sentences, they can't even identify words. Are we following this my line of story?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. So now you have established that there's a problem, and then you want to bring about an intervention to say, okay, no, we can hire teachers, or we can train people that will give children extra lesson. Let's see if there will be an improvement. Are we following?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, since you have hired the teacher, at the end of the day, you also want to know the value of that your intervention. You want to know impact. You want to measure the impact. So you want to be able to measure the difference of what your intervention has been able to achieve. Are we following?
Okay. Very well.
Now, if you are carrying out your project work, for you to measure difference, it means you must have two groups. First of all, if you don't have two groups, it's still possible to measure impact. It means If you only have, so for example, children in Makodi now, will gauge their reading level. So for example, if you are in primary 6, you're able to read well, we'll give you 5. If you can just identify words, we'll give you 4. If it is letters you can identify, we'll give you 3. If you don't even know anyone, we'll give you 1. We will measure the level you are first before the intervention. So you can find impacts even with the same group if you have data before your intervention, and then after your intervention, you collect data. Hey, hello.
We're here,
God,
doctor.
I
We're
was
here.
scared. I was scared with that sneeze. Did we get that?
Yes, doctor.
Secondly, you can measure impact using one group as long as you have data before and after. The other way you can measure impact is when you have beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries. And for you to compare beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries, they must be similar, they must be random. Even though we know they cannot, you do it in a random way, even though we know they cannot be the same. But if you want to measure impact of education on me, you should look for somebody that is like my age range. You should look for somebody that is like my sex, somebody that is similar with me in major characteristics, and then that did not go to school, then with me that went to school, you now find that's when you're able to find the difference. But in a situation where you don't have data before and after, and you're not looking at beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries, you cannot measure impact. You're just trying to find effects. Are we following? Are we following?
Yes, please.
So for example, if your project work has to do with you finding something in IDP camp and you don't have baseline data when these people got to IDP camp and there was an intervention, you cannot look at impact of something at the IDP camp. You're only going to look at the effect because you cannot evaluate impacts.
Okay.
Is this clear?
Yes, please.
Because sometimes you say you want to find the impact of this on this. The next question they will ask you, which kind of data do you have that you say you want to find impact, right? So when you're finding impact, you want to attribute something to something. Hello.
Doctor, we're here with you.
So any question, do you understand how you assess impact?
So, ma, from what you've said now, in carrying out the research, is it better to, or is it totally unwise if that word exists for me to carry out an assessment when I actually don't have my data before and after the impact, and
Yes,
then
that's what I'm
will it
telling you.
be? Yeah,
That is
and
what
will it
she's
be
saying
totally
now.
okay? Will it be totally out of context for me to actually carry out a research based on effects? I just want to know.
No. That's what I'm saying. Use the right word, right? So if you know you don't have data at
Before.
baseline level, or data pre or data before, and you know you don't have beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries, it's just effect you're trying to find. You just
All
want
right,
to,
thank you.
measure effect, but you cannot say this is impact because there are so many things that you have not considered in your study.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Any question on this? So for us to be able to evaluate the impact of a policy, it therefore means we must have data before the initiation of that policy, or we must have people who are not benefiting from that policy and people who are benefiting, and then we are not able to find, even though it's not possible to find the exact impact, at least the average will be, with some level of confidence, you can say, yes, this is the average impact of this policy. Is that okay? Any question?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Any question? So if you are coming to do your pre-field and there's an impact in your objective, you want to find the impact of it, that means you are telling us that you have either pre or post, or you are looking at beneficiaries or not beneficiaries. If those two things are not the case, then they are going to fire you very well and they will step down your work. Are you following? Now, because of course it means that you don't know what you say you want to do.
Okay.
So
Thank you for the
I'm going to drop like a cheat sheet, like a guide, right? So that everybody will benefit from it as you plan to start your research. So you look at the assumptions that hold, and then you know what you're trying to do. And even when it comes to impact, there are different methods that we can use to find impacts. Are we following?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So even for those who have beneficiaries and not beneficiaries, or you have there are different methods that you can use to find impact. The best of them is randomized control trial. And I think this is beyond the scope of this class, right? That's the best method you can use, but RCT does not apply in every senior. So I think I'll drop that cheat sheet. I got that cheat sheet from MIT. I'm taking a course currently with them. I'll drop it. I think it will be beneficial for people who might be thinking about an impact study. All right, so who's going to help us with the penultimate consideration? Barriers and facilitators.
Barriers and facilitators. Identify the barriers that's different. Excuse me. Identify the barriers that different genders face in assessing the benefits of the policy. Also, assess any factors that facilitate or hinder their participation.
Right, so this is you putting on a gender lens. As good as your policy is, or as good as any project you want to do, you should also check, would there be barriers from people benefiting from this? If there will be barriers, how do we, bring down these barriers? This is you analyzing your policy with a gender lens. This is you considering people's needs and the different things that people will pass through and to benefit from this policy. And then finally, advocacy and awareness. Let's go into this first.
Yeah.
Advocacy and
Advocacy
awareness.
and awareness. You use the findings of the gender analysis to advocate for changes in policies and raise awareness about the importance of gender equality and the policy's impact on different genders.
Right. So yesterday we talked about advocacy. And what is advocacy? The closest synonym to that is like campaign. You fighting for fighting to so that there can be changes as regards maybe policies, or you trying to raise awareness about.
Hello, ma.
Yes, somebody was. Yes.
Hello, ma.
Yes, I can hear you.
I see sustainable development as an advocacy. It's a campaign to bring gender inclusivity in every aspect of life. So I think this is a very good example.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. So we're going to meet in the afternoon, and we're going to look at things we'll consider when we're actually doing research. So yesterday, Mr. Shonke was telling us that you can't go to the IDP camp to go and collect data directly. You have to go through what is the state? You have to get permission from
SEMA.
Is it SEMA?
Yes.
SEMA, yeah. So we're going to look at some of those considerations for us to carry out gender related research. And then tomorrow we're going to have our presentations, and that will be the end of my part for this course. So I'll be dropping the materials now. Hold on.
Hello, ma.
Yes, I can hear you.
Are we extracting, that is group 5, are we extracting from the question that was given to develop and present tomorrow? Because
Group
I
5,
never
you will ask the people that were in class, so please, quick roll call. Ahenda. Sate. Ahenda Sate. 0. Igila Richard. So this is my own continuous assessment. Igila Richard. Uzoma. Nke Makolam. Uzoma. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Please hear, ma.
Edu Rosemary, I heard her voice. Aundo Emba. Onguga.
Ma, afternoon, ma.
Okay. You were not here throughout yesterday. Asongo.
I was here yesterday, ma.
Present, ma.
Nafisat, I can see you. Ajaka, I saw you. Mariam, Adamu. Teso Topav. Chekwa.
I'm here,
Chekwa.
ma. Present,
I would
ma.
have been surprised if you're not here. And Gemka.
Present, ma.
Yese. Doyum.
Doc, I'm here.
It's Takba that is talking, and I said, Yese, Doyum. Omudu. Omudu. Patience Omudu. Tepase Timothy. Mercy Alaki. Mercy. Bado Veronica. Bado. Igbamimido, just
Hello,
speak.
ma. Hello, ma.
Yes, I can hear you.
Father Veronica is very, very sweet. She started me yesterday that she will
Okay.
be traveling
No
to
problem.
shop for
All right.
Christmas.
No problem. Noted. Igbamimido. Igbamimido.
Ma, Igbamimido has been sick. I don't.
Zasha
Yes.
Nelson. Zasha Nelson. Ifan. Nado. Nado Ago.
Yes, ma. Yes.
I've marked Ifan. I've marked you. Nado.
I got another present, ma.
You were not here yesterday.
Yes, ma.
Doshima. No problem. Doshima Unjo. Please forgive me.
Present,
I know she's around. Yobi. TV. Olima. Ivo Felix. Ivo Felix. Is Olima not around? Olima not around? I thought I saw her earlier because I ticked her name. Abu, okay. Musa Mutaka. Musa. Ogaba.
Present, ma.
Ogaba.
Present, ma.
Jigba. Paul
Present.
Aundokura. Paul
Jigba is
Aundokura.
present.
Paul
Yes,
is
ma.
around,
Yes, ma.
right?
Yes, Paul is around, ma.
Jemima. Calvin. I saw Calvin. Calvin.
Present, ma.
I know I saw him.
Present.
Okay. Goodness is around. Fayam is around. Bala Ibrahim. Bala? Is Bala around? Zulaya, Jato Jennifer, I've ticked. Takpe Samuel, I've ticked. Uma Blessing, I've seen you. Jimmy Teide. Jimmy?
Present, ma. Jimmy is present.
Okay. Mata Tongu.
Present, ma. Yeah, I didn't hear my name, ma.
Mata Tongu. Mata. Bamwa Anastasia Mwese.
Yes, ma. Present.
Abu Monica Mimido. I thought I saw her.
Present, ma.
Nyamgi, I saw Nyamgi David. Manasseh spoke. Chagu and Ted. And Chagu. She's not here. Philip, this way.
Present, ma.
Philip.
Present, ma.
Chagu Ted was here.
James, you said what?
Chagu Ted was here.
Yes. James, Abu, sorry, please. James.
Yes, I am still around.
Okay,
Yes.
don't do Awashima.
My
Dondo.
Network is very bad.
I've marked you, no problem, sir. Dondo Awashima. Medugu Silas is here. Victor.
Present, ma. Present,
You were
ma.
absent throughout yesterday.
Actually, I had serious network challenge.
Kumaden is here. Uto Patrick is here. Iwodis is here. Shamke is here. Yaju Tokwase.
Present, ma.
Okay, so I'm going to drop the cheat sheet and
Ma, I didn't hear my name.
I didn't hear my name.
Huh?
I didn't hear my name.
Ma, I didn't hear my name.
I
Good
get as
afternoon,
if
ma.
I marked your name. I've marked your name.
I didn't.
Emmanuel. I've marked your name. Omoya, I've marked your name.
Okay, thank you, ma. Thank
I
you,
have
ma.
marked your name.
Ma, I didn't hear my
That's not.
Pine, I've marked
I
your
didn't know
name.
my name.
Who else again?
John.
I have marked your name. As long as
How about me?
you made contribution, I marked your name. As you were talking, I was marking.
I didn't hear my name, ma. That's not.
Is that not the class, the person? I've marked your name now.
All right, ma.
Are you not the monitor of the class?
Abba, Desmond, Abba.
All right, so see us all by 1 p.m. by God's grace. Thank
I
you.
didn't hear my name.
Thank you very much.
Felix,
Thank you, ma.
Ivo.
Yes, ma.
Felix, don't worry. I think I
Thank you,
marked
ma.
your name. I'll check it. So see us later.
All right, ma. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
God bless you. Thank you.
Stop sharing.
Mr. Fayam, the class rep. Fayam, the class rep.
If I listen to